Welcome to the Life of Being podcast, where we talk about all things life from a healthcare perspective all around the world. I'm your host, Kelly Tan, and in each episode, we'll explore stories, science, and wisdom to help you live well, think deeper, and express life fully. Let's begin. Today, we're super excited to have Marina Papadimitriou all the way from Greece. Dr. Marina is a doctor of chiropractic who loves exploring chiropractic philosophy and making it practical for real life. Her work focuses on the nervous system and supporting mothers through the perinatal journey. She graduated from AECC in 2017 and completed the ACP program in 2019. Marina now lives in Halkida, where she co-runs Ithaca Chiropractic Center and Upper Cervical Clinic alongside with her sister. She also hosts Mom Brain Unfiltered, a podcast where she talks openly about the messy, honest side of motherhood. No matter where she is sharing, clinic, podcast, or seminar, her aim is simple: to help people feel more connected, grounded, and empowered to make quality decisions about their health. Dr. Marina, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. So nice to be here.
So shall we start by you sharing your story in terms of how you got into chiropractic and then your journey towards working with your sister?
Yeah, cool. So I don't have maybe like a miracle story like most of the students that I met at the time when I went to ACC. There's so many people that they have like amazing stories that they've been helped from chiropractic or they've had chiropractic care from like a very early age. So I didn't have like a story like this. But from a very young age, I knew that I wanted to help people. So my dad is a physio. And since I was a little girl, I loved like coming to like observe him. And I was like, oh, I'm going to be like my dad. You know, I want to like help people. And then like fast forward like a few years at the end of high school, I wanted to go study physiotherapy, and I did. And I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed the classes. By the time I graduated, I knew I was going to do something like more, let's say like a master's or like I don't know, like something like more to further like my education. And then at the time, my sister, Loula, she had already graduated from like physio and she had already been to ACC, which was in England, studying as a chiropractor. Again, she didn't know anything about chiropractic, but I'm sure she's already like mentioned that on her side of the story. And then I was like, okay, maybe I'll do some osteopathy. Maybe I'll do some like chiropractic. So I went to observe like a few different people. And then I went to visit Loula. I was like, oh, this was fun, right? It's not like I observed like any classes or, you know, something to be like, oh yeah, this is chiropractic. And so I was like, okay, this looks like fun. And, you know, I liked what I saw at the practices. I remember there was one chiropractor, he was at the time at another like chiropractor's clinic in Athens. And then he mentioned something about like green books. I didn't pay like any attention. I was like, whatever. And then he was like, oh, I'll send them over to you. And I was like, cool. It didn't mean anything at the time because I think he had them like, you know, on a hard drive or something, like all the copies. And then I applied actually for both the British School of Osteopathy and both like and the ACC. And then the first letter I got, the acceptance letter it was from the osteopathy school, and something inside me was like, okay, I'll wait. I'll wait for the other letter. Like I was happy, you know, it's nice that when you apply somewhere and you get accepted. But I was like, I'll just wait. And then I got the letter from like ACC, and to be honest, I did really like the vibe when I went there, and I liked that it was very like family like. It was very like more, you know, like not many like people, not your typical like university, that chaos. And you know,
what was it when you're thinking, like what were your thoughts that said, hey, maybe just wait for a bit?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was the familiar feeling because, you know, the other place that I already like visited, and you know, my sister was already there, so it was kind of more like the safest option. So Yeah, I guess I would just say it was that. And, and like my sister was there, and some people that I've met, like via my sister, like they were going to be there when I was going to go there. So it wouldn't be as like a completely like foreign environment, I
Mm,
would know some people there. So I guess, and when you move to like a completely like foreign country, like
mm.
you're looking for that, like maybe familiar, those familiar things.
And do you feel like your sister played a big role in terms of paving the way for you? You kind of like
Oh,
follow her footsteps?
yeah, definitely, and yeah, I'm really grateful to her, and like whoever I met via her. Maybe it was like difficult at times because going into college and ACC being how it is, I think it's a lot worse now, but being how it was at the time, and I went in there like already curious about like chiropractic. It's not like I was oblivious, so I guess
Mm,
that was a good thing, but also sometimes like a bad thing in terms of like
mm.
frustrating. That's all.
Yes.
But I still remember, I think it was one of my first like essays. I think it was like the first like semester or something. It was, I can't remember exactly what the essay like was, but it was me looking into like the different styles of chiropractic or like the
Mm,
philosophy of chiropractic. And I
mm,
remember asking one of the tutors, like, why is this? Why is this such a big deal? Talking about like one thing and then we're not allowed to talk about the other thing. And I remember like his answer was not like complete. And it was something that I was like, if people are not allowed, like if you're not allowed to talk about, let's say, subluxation, like,
mm,
okay, that means there's something there. So
mm.
I was already in that kind of like mindset when I first started.
And what prompted you to start reading green books then that were sent over to you?
I didn't. I never read those at the time. I'm gonna be honest. I think the first like green book that I started reading was like a chiropractic textbook, and it was like way after, probably like nearly when I graduated, or like
Mm,
even for like ACP. I
mm.
did read other books like before. I think the first one was Robert Sinnett, and then the blue books like Strauss. So at the time, they seemed more like straightforward and like easier to
Yeah.
digest. Reading it again now recently when I was preparing for the ACP that we
Yeah,
hosted
yeah, yeah.
here, I wasn't agreeing with a lot of stuff, but it's interesting to
Mm,
see how like you evolve over like the years, and it's
yeah.
good to like reread some of the things.
What thought has changed over the years then?
I think it's like how we interpret like the philosophy, and I think as you like grow as a chiropractor, because when I say grow, the more like you interact like with people and then you work with more people, the more you dive into this work, like whether you like it or not. Like once you open that door of chiropractic philosophy, it's open. You cannot like shut it.
Like a Pandora box, isn't it?
You're down the rabbit hole, like there's no way back. Right? But then you evolve, right? You evolve as a like
Yes.
a practitioner, so of course you're gonna the same way we evolve outside like this, let's say,
Mm,
the practice, right?
mm.
You see things differently. It's not like, okay, like this was wrong what he said, in the book, but it's the way like someone explains it, or it's the way I interpret it like now.
You
Maybe in a few
actually
years time I'll read it again and it will
you
be something
change.
different.
Yeah. And that means that you're constantly thinking and growing and evolving also. With what you have now in terms of the interpretation and knowledge, how would you explain then chiropractic philosophy or chiropractic?
Ooh. I like that you just corrected it, like chiropractic philosophy or
Yeah,
chiropractic.
it's like chiropractic.
Well, you cannot have chiropractic without its philosophy. It is a triad. We have the philosophy, the science, and the art, and I don't think you can have one without the other. Chiropractic is more, definitely more of what we like to, let's say to people, I guess. And sometimes I think we minimize what chiropractic is in order to be accepted or in order to be liked. Chiropractic is talking about life and the expression of life. So I think even if we just focus on that, it's something even like bigger than what we like give.
When did you know this was your calling? Was it before you sign up or was it after once you know deeper what chiropractic actually is?
I wouldn't say like it's a calling because, and now I know I'm just standing like on the word, but I don't think it was like a calling. I made like a decision, informed decision at the time with whatever I knew at the time. And then I continued to make decisions to help me follow more through that like journey. It's not like I had like an epiphany or like, oh, this is like the work. But the more I was reading and the more I was listening to like people talking about like chiropractic and chiropractic philosophy, then I was getting more and more focused, let's say, on that. So I did spend my student years listening to like people, and I was at the time part of a Insight Club. I don't know if it still exists, but it was like a club that they would bring chiropractors from like, you know, outside
Yes.
uni in order to like tell you something like different. And I will never forget the first talk that I went, and I
Yes.
think it was like a few months into my chiropractic studies. Inside Club had invited this chiropractor, and I'll tell you in a minute who it was. And they were like, "Oh, like you need to go. This guy says that he's curing like cancer." And I'm like, okay, like it's gonna be like packed, you know, it's gonna be packed. And everyone was like, oh, it's gonna be like so busy. It was Liam Schugel. It
Oh.
was Dr. Liam Schugel, and he was like invited. It was like an evening, so it was outside of like classes, and he was invited at the ACC from the Insight Club. And the room was like packed. People were sitting not just on the chairs, just like on the stairs as well.
Wow, wow.
Right. So that was like my first talk that I heard about like self-relaxation and what is chiropractic. And I was like, whoa, like this is what we're talking about. And then he was banned. He was banned from college, and then people
Yeah,
started talking. And of course, he never said anything like curing a cancer, but like it's the people that, you know, they
yeah,
heard or they interpreted that way. And then we brought him again as part of the Insight Club, but we did it at a cafe this
yeah.
time. Yes, the school became like stricter, like more
Mm,
strict in terms
mm,
of like who they're gonna invite. But then we kept inviting people. So I did focus on like listening to as many people as I like
mm.
could. And then I guess because of the like support that I had from my sister and like a little bit of like the background, I did spend time in learning more of like a technique and more of like I remember Loula said like, okay, maybe go to like a Gonstead seminar or try like seminars that they're like more, what's the word, like coherent, like it's about like a technique, so it's not like just like a
Mm,
random seminar, if that makes sense.
It's more like specific to
Yeah,
technique. Yeah.
yeah.
If a student would like to understand deeper what chiropractic is, where would you point to them first initially? What resources would they have in steps so that they can slowly understand more?
I would say definitely to like listen to like a lot of different like chiropractors, so like podcasts and like interviews. And if something that if something that you hear like it not triggers you, you know, like
Yeah.
sparks your like
Yes.
interest,
Mm,
message them and talk to that person, or read a book, of course. But I think the book part is more of like a lonelier way to go, because once you
mm,
start reading like the book, you're gonna have questions. And
yes.
those questions you would like to discuss them with someone that they already like know.
Mm.
So yeah, definitely like some reads, but also I think I would just focus to talking to more like chiropractors.
Who would you suggest then, other than yourself? Like, list a few names that you feel like it kind of opens the door because if someone comes from ACC or we don't even know all these different names, we don't even know what subluxation is. So where would you give examples for people to listen to? Or what were you
Okay.
listening previously? Maybe that's a better question.
It's just like a few names, but at the same time, I don't want to like leave anyone. Like I don't mention like anyone that I like know and
Things that
I
you have on top
respect.
of your mind at the moment, and obviously if there's any additional ones, let me know. I can just put it in the description below.
But
So,
yeah, that's fine. Well, Christian Caswell, I'll mention him because
mm,
we studied together, and he's in the UK as well, and he runs quite a few practices right now. And having that group of people and having that like support, being guided by someone that who knows and understands like the chiropractic like philosophy, then that's definitely like one of them. And then another person I wanted to mention, because he has like also seminars talking about how to explain like chiropractic, like more like table talk seminars, is Johnny Collar. Another person I think I would like to mention is Travis Corcoran, because he does a lot of work as well with IFCO, like having like top chiro in the Netherlands and running the school there. So I think he would be a great person to like reach out, and I'm sure like all of them that I mentioned, they would be more than happy to talk to students.
Yeah, 100%. And then I know there's some of them, they have like podcasts also. They can just go and listen to the interviews and reach out to them.
Yeah,
That's great.
exactly.
We did mention about something about like real life application. What do you mean by that?
Well, whether we realize it or not, I think once you start practicing, and then let's say you're out of like the school, and then you start practicing, and then you're working with people, you apply the chiropractic principles every day. You might not like quote them, and you might not like realize that you do it, but trust me, you do. It's happening from the moment how you explain how intelligent the body is, and how it has like a nervous system that is like organizing everything, and it helps your body like adapt. So already there you've mentioned like few principles. When you explain to them like the care plan and how it's gonna like change over time, and those changes that you're gonna see, again, you mentioning those like principles. So you don't have to have them, quoted on your wall to show that you know chiropractic philosophy, but it's the way you explain. Well, your whole report of findings is probably based on the chiropractic principles. So making it simple in terms of the examples that you just give to the people that you're taking care of, then you're already doing it. And the more you understand them, then the easier it becomes.
Do you usually give an example for your clients also? Usually.
In terms of
when you're explaining about, well, obviously don't talk about principle stuff, but do you connect both in terms of principles, or it's more for your understanding and it's easier for you to explain?
Well, I think it's always a bit of both. Because you do it like in the background.
Yeah.
So like you understand that the principle, and then you're switching to like a way to make it more relatable to like the other person. I don't know if I answered your question.
You did, yes. You did, yes. That's perfect. I'd like to know more about your journey in terms of studying ACP, and also your journey towards perinatal in terms of upper cervical. Do you want to tell me more about what your thoughts in terms of delving into? Yeah.
So when I was at ACC, I did like few Gonstead seminars, which I really enjoyed. The reason I think I enjoyed them so much is that they had a clear structure, and everything that it was like laid down, it was okay, we're going to talk about this, and this is how we explain it. It was super like clear, and in my mind, it made like so much sense. And the fact that everyone was focusing so much on developing their art as well, based on that system. As I was like growing as a chiropractor, for me, it kind of lacked on the philosophy part. And then I started reading more. I think it was like a year into practice. Yeah, I went to work at a clinic in Manchester just after I graduated. It was like 5 different chiropractors there. They didn't really follow. It's not like we had like a system. We had some systems in place. Every clinic has a system, but nothing like clear, like a technique, let's say. They would let me use a scope. So for me, that was important, that I could like try it and test it. And then I was doing like the constant adjustments as much as I could with the equipment that I had. And I was using like the scope. So it was important for me to have those pre and post like checks, along with like other checks that the clinic might have like used at the time. And then in 2018, well, a very good friend of ours, Tom Dirksen, he had already done the ACP, the previous one. And he told us like, oh, it's going to happen again in Europe. You should do it.
Mm.
And like reread a little bit about it, and I don't remember thinking about it much. Me and Loula was said like, okay, let's do it, and we were like, oh, let's do it together. It would be fun.
Oh, that's
Um,
lovely.
and they were like, 5 weekends in Europe. Like, why not do it? We're gonna go to like new places,
Yes.
and Christian said at the time he will do it as well. So it was fun to like get into that journey together, and then you meet like such amazing like people from all over, and it was such a great experience. And I mean, all the teachers that they came to the weekends, but Bill Decken does an incredible job leading the course. So it was life changing, if we say. Yeah, it's like we said before. It's like you opened that door now. It's no
Not
going
closing
back.
that. At the moment, what are you studying then, Marina? What are you focusing on at the moment?
At the moment,
What are you reading? What are you listening?
so at the moment, my energy goes more onto the podcast that I have started.
Tell me more about that.
It was always like I always wanted to start a podcast, especially when I was in England. I would listen to like podcasts like every day, Kairos or not Kairos, just like in general. I loved like listening. And then I knew I wanted to do it here, but I didn't have the subject, I guess, in mind, because I didn't want it to be like pure. I didn't want it to be just about chiropractic, just like a
Yes.
podcast to be just for like the clinic. And then when I came back to Greece, a couple years later, I became a mom,
Mom.
and and it did change a lot of stuff. It changed a lot of stuff for me in terms of like how I view life and how I do things. And it does put everything into perspective. It has its challenges, and it's really hard. I had this conversation yesterday, actually. It's really hard when you do something you love as well. Like when you're working and you do something that you really enjoy, and then you have this other like new thing that is like consuming your life in like in a good
Yes.
way, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But then you also want to be like in your
Yes.
business as well. So it does change a lot of like things and how you practice and how you view these like aspects. But it opened up a new world, and in terms of like what I'm gonna like talk to and how am I gonna support more women that they feel like lost, let's say, after like motherhood. And unfortunately, here in Greece, there's a lot of things that we are quite like behind in terms of like the way babies are born. We're one of the countries that with the highest rates of like C-sections, I think like globally. I would talk to people and I would see that people don't know much about like development as well, like of the infant, and they don't know who to like talk to about that. Like, let's say you have like some developmental like delays, or even talking about like the normal stuff that they happen the first like year. No one really talks about that, and then like children get into the age that they have like issues with those things, and then that's like too late, right? Like you could have like, I'm not saying you could, I'm not like blaming like obviously like the
Yeah, of
moms, and
course,
it's
of
more of
course.
like how the system like
Yeah.
works. There's no like education
Yes.
of what's like normal, right?
Mm.
So that really gave me like the space for me to start talking about stuff that they're like how they're supposed to be.
That's amazing. And how long you been starting that already? I think that was quite recent, but
I
quite a
think I
few
started it
months.
last summer. Yeah.
Almost coming up to a year now.
Yeah.
What is one advice you would give for aspiring moms or first-time moms in terms of what you know now for them?
Are they like working moms? We're talking to moms about like chiropractors or just like in general?
Moms in general. So like what's one advice? Because you did talk about all these different things that they are unaware of. So what is one advice you would give to aspiring moms, first-time moms? Any advice at all?
Read as much as you can. Look into the things as much as you like can, and make a decision on your own, like in terms of like your own like values, and don't let anyone, just make you change your mind. Like be certain, be certain, be assertive, And remember, like, none of this, you don't have to do it alone. Because I think a lot of times, like, motherhood creates that, like, loneliness after, but you're not alone. Like, there's so many moms that they've been through the same, like, things. And so reach out after. So that would be, like, my number one advice.
Reach out to people and also listen to the podcast. Lots of different informative. It's more making informed decision, isn't it? And creating awareness for
Exactly.
that. So you did mention about there's something that's incongruent in Gonstead with the philosophy. So what is it that shifted you to finding out deeper when you've done the seminar?
It was more of when we were already, like, doing the ACP and we were studying more the philosophy, then I would just see that I would was looking for something that I would be able to incorporate, like, everything that I've, like, learned in terms of, like, the philosophy. It was important for me also, and it highlighted that, to have, like, a strong, like, science and the art. But I think, like, the art, you I don't want to say you should, but you should be aspiring to focus on all three. And I think, like, well, the art is what you like, is how you express everything that you've learned, is how you express it and be able to, like, help the person in front of you. So no matter what technique you're doing, what system you're following, make sure you're really good at it.
Who's your inspirational figure that you have that guides you throughout your journey?
I think I'd like to say that I have a lot of inspirational figures. My friends, my chiropractic friends, they're all my inspirational figures. So very grateful, and grateful that I have them in my life, and my sister, of course. It's good to find your tribe and people that you can, like, talk to in terms of evolving in chiropractic. Yeah. So I would definitely suggest to people, like, find your own, like, tribe and have that group of people that you can have, like, conversations and help you evolve, because only through those conversations they will challenge you. And I guess that's why ACP was so great, because they challenge you, and if you don't get challenged, then you don't grow. If you're comfortable, then
You're not
you're
growing, isn't
comfortable,
it?
you're not
Yeah.
gonna, like, do anything. Yeah. But I would say, because you always tend to think with these questions, like, okay, who's not here alive at this present moment, and who would you ask, right? And immediately, like, BJ jumped in my mind, and I'm sure I would have asked him a lot of things, but the question that came to mind more is, and I think it's very relevant to today and how chiropractic stands today, is what part of chiropractic would you protect the most, and what compromises did you regret making, if
Wow.
any? So that's why I want to, like, urge the listeners to maybe, if BJ was asking us today, what part of chiropractic will you protect the most, and what compromises are you willing to make, if any? So I think everyone should answer that question, individually. And that means you define your non-negotiables. That means you have to define what drew you into chiropractic, and what principles would you still stand for, even if it cost you approval, even if it cost you money, right? And I think it's very important for us, especially for us, like, working and practicing, is where can our businesses, our systems, our communication evolve while we keep the principle intact, because there is room for growth and for improvement. And one more thing that I would like to ask the listeners is, and I'd like to think it sometimes as well, if BJ was here and he was watching your practice today, so it might be a scary thought for some, but if he was here and he was watching you, how you practice today, would he be proud? Where would you say, like, you've, like, evolved, and where would he be like, stop?
Super interesting question. And also the second question was one that I was thinking of when you're explaining the questions also. So I was thinking it's like, okay, what if BJ is alive today and what when he sees what chiropractic is now, will he be disappointed? Will he be proud of what we will be progressing also 130 years into it? Do you think that he'll be proud of what we're doing or he'll be disappointed with the progress? So that was actually what I wanted to ask you when you were talking about the questions. Do you have an answer to the question that you're pondering upon? What will you protect and what will you compromise? Do you have an answer for that? Your answer at this present time.
At this present, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good that you highlight present moment, because I think
Yes.
those questions, like we said before,
Changes and
as you
evolves.
grow, as you evolve, yeah. So always like, checking,
Mm.
slipping and checking. So what part of chiropractic? Well, the philosophy, that's the essence of chiropractic. So for me, yeah, with whatever that like entails, right? The philosophy, like how we've discussed like so far, everything that we know about chiropractic is like there, it's
Mhm.
already been said, and people
Mhm.
have like studied it for us, and people all these years they're like giving it to us, it's here, like we should protect it, like we should protect it, we should invest in it, we should read, because without it then it's not chiropractic anymore.
Yeah. If you don't understand why you're doing what you're doing, then you're just coasting.
Yeah, and I think a lot of times we do get lost and into other things, like the business, or let's say we the business side. I mean, the care plan, and we get like focused on like, okay, I need to like keep this patient for like life, right?
Mm,
Let's
mm,
just say, and we sometimes lose as to like why we want that. Like, is it because they told us like, okay, this person has to come like 3 times a week for 3 months, and then twice a week for another 3 months, and then that means they'll come once a month for the rest of their life? Like, no.
mm.
And I don't know, do you think like BJ cared if they would complete like their care plan? Well, no, I think actually BJ only wanted to see them once, right? Because he didn't want to see them again, because that meant he didn't do probably a good job. And
Yeah.
okay, I'm opening like another discussion here, but you know what I'm trying to say? Like, it's we focus too much sometimes on the other stuff where we're missing the point.
How are you keeping yourself sleeping and checking then?
It's a very interesting question, Kelly. I would say it helps when you work with someone, alongside with someone. It helps because as soon as you notice it, then you have the other like person to be like, hey, something's up here. Like, we need to like address it. So
Mm,
um, that like helps. Whereas when you're practicing more alone, because chiropractic can be a lonely, like
mm.
lonely, depending like where you are. It's harder to do that slipping and checking, I guess. When you're like with someone, then it makes it easier. So
That's why you need to
being
find your
with
tribe.
Loula, it helps.
Being with Lula and both of you, the dynamic will be so different in a way.
Yeah.
Mm.
And also like what we're doing now, that helps
What do you mean what you're doing now? As
when
in,
we're talking about it
okay.
as well.
What advice would you give to younger Marina when she started chiropractic? With what you know now, what advice would you give?
I would say, I don't mean to sound now very, what's the word? Prideful.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
I would I would tell her to like follow the path that she's already like on, just keep searching for answers, keep asking questions. And then if you don't get like the answers that you're looking for, then change your questions and keep asking them, and just try and read as much and talk with different people, and whatever we basically like just said to the whatever I would say to like a student now that they would do. And
Just
for me, like going through those different like systems and techniques, it has helped me like evolve. And I guess I would just say, don't be too stuck, if we use that word. Don't be
mm,
too like suck that you think you know what you want to do, right? Just trying to be like more open. If you have like an idea, then that's great, but don't let that be the only like thing that keeps you stuck. I'm going to use the word stuck and not focused, because a lot of times like we start at college and we think like, oh, I'm going to be an upper cervical doc. Okay, great. Like, how, why, and what does that mean for you? Like, are you gonna like read anything like else, or are you willing to test that certainty? Like, are you willing to go and like do another seminar and be like, oh, actually that makes a lot of sense for me, you
Mm.
know?
Mm.
So whatever like you've decided or you haven't, just like keep like asking questions and test that.
Keep asking questions. That's really good advice. We are coming towards the end of the recording. I'm super, super thankful for your time and for you to share your story, share your experience with us. And where would be the best place to find you then, Marina?
Please, I'm saying this to anyone who've listened, reach out, like ask me any questions that you might have. You can find me on social media. I use Instagram a lot, so maybe we can
Yeah,
add
we'll,
that.
we'll,
And email as well works
yeah, that's great.
fine. So then we can pass the details, and I'm more than happy to connect with anyone.
Yeah, so if there's anyone has any question, just reach out to Marina, shoot her a message, an email. We'll leave her information and also a podcast website, all the handles into the description. And before we wrap things up, what is one quote that you would like to leave to the listeners, to students, to anyone listening to this episode?
Okay, I think it's one of my favorite. Nature needs no help, just no interference.
Mic drop. Close. That's a super good way to wrap the episode. Thanks so much, Marina, for your time. And we'll
Thank
hopefully
you.
connect soon again then. Take care
Thank
and enjoy the
you.
rest of your day.
You too. Thanks, Kelly.